My number one struggle with making YouTube videos is getting the camera to focus. Let's put this little strawberry in the background. I am so sorry if this entire video is gonna be out of focus. Okay. Hello lovelies and welcome back to another video.
Everywhere I go, I'm plant-based dripping.
Please ignore the swamp hair for this video. I'm gonna attempt to fix it tomorrow, but we'll see how that goes. So I asked you guys on Instagram to ask me your questions regarding any concerns around the holiday season, because I know that for many of us who are in recovery or those of us struggling with disordered eating or an eating disorder, there's usually a lot of anxiety and fears around the holidays. So I wanted to ask you guys what your biggest concerns are for this holiday season and answer them in this video. When I suffered from dieting, disordered eating, and my eating disorder, I usually it was kind of sad, like I used to try to avoid the holidays as much as possible. Like I would just try to avoid going to Thanksgiving, or I would avoid certain family meals because I didn't want to be taken out of my rigid routine or the foods that I thought were safe to have during my eating disorder. So unfortunately, eating disorders and even dieting can really make us lose focus of what actually matters and what our true values are. Our eating disorder can really take over and make us lose track of what is most important during the holidays, which is spending time with loved ones. And it's almost like it throws all these obstacles in our way, like, you know, anxiety about not working out or eating foods that are scary or eating too much, or, you know, whatever it is. It's almost like the eating disorder like throws all these obstacles in the way and prevents us from just being present and enjoying time with family and friends. I want you guys to enjoy the holiday season, allow yourself to relax, allow yourself to eat delicious food, and enjoy the holidays without guilt and without anxiety. And be present and enjoy the time spent with your loved ones and with your friends. So it sounds like most of you guys are worried about the comments you're going to receive from family members or friends around the holiday season, either regarding your body or regarding the food that you're eating. And I think one of the most important things for this situation is to come to these difficult social situations well armed. So this means, number one, being well nourished, because if you come to these social situations hangry, you're not going to be in a good mental state to deal with these difficult comments. So if you're on a meal plan, that means following your meal plan. If you're doing intuitive eating, making sure that you're eating enough and listening to your body and making sure that you are well nourished. Another aspect of this is getting enough sleep and enough rest, because if you're tired, you're not going to be at full mental capacity to be able to ignite your inner wisdom and stay strong in your values and your boundaries in responding to these difficult people or difficult comments that you receive. Another thing is ensure that you're practicing self-care during this time, because this will also allow you to be well armed. So practicing self-care is not always easy. Sometimes it requires discipline. So ensure that you're practicing self-care over this holiday season. If you are in the presence of someone toxic, of someone that is making negative comments about your body or about how much food you're eating or what food you're eating, then just remember that you do not have to sit there and take it. However, I recognize that sometimes with the power dynamics it could be a little bit difficult. Like, for example, if it is your grandma and you want to be, you know, respectful, and maybe you're a people pleaser and you don't want to offend anybody, just know that no matter what the power dynamic situation is, or even if you're a people pleaser, you can always excuse yourself from a conversation, or you can always discreetly change topics in the conversation. So if people start talking about dieting, or if people start commenting on how your body looks or how much food you're eating, you can always just discreetly change the topic of the conversation, or you can always excuse yourself from conversations as well. And remember to tell yourself and your eating disorder— whoa, my contact just went crazy. And remember to tell yourself and your eating disorder voice, those aren't our values. We do not have to take on those beliefs, and this is not applicable to us. So you can always mentally rehearse these things in your mind if you hear anybody say any triggering comments over the holidays. If the power dynamics feel safe, you can always directly tell the person, please don't talk about weight, or please don't talk about my food. If you feel comfortable, you can say, I'm currently recovering from an eating disorder and I'm working on my relationship with food and my body, so it would be really helpful for me if you didn't talk about weight or dieting or food at this time. So you can just set your boundaries and change topics and move on with the conversation. A lot of you guys were also concerned about binge eating during the holiday season, and just remember that what sets people up for binge eating is restriction. So if you know that you're going to an event that evening where there's going to be lots of yummy food available, remember to nourish yourself and follow your meal plan, or nourish yourself just as you would on a regular day. Do not restrict the amount that you are eating just because there is going to be a feast later that evening. It used to be so triggering for me to hear family or friends say, I haven't eaten anything all day today to save enough room for this big meal tonight, or saying like, oh, I'm gonna have to work out to burn off this big meal that I had. Like, those type of comments used to be so triggering for me, but now that I am far along in my recovery and I'm sure of what I'm doing, I know what I need to do for myself to take care of myself, and I know that those things would be detrimental to me, and I know that just because someone else is doing that does not mean that I have to do that. I would not feel good if I went a full day without eating and waited till the evening to eat a bunch of food. That would not make me feel good, and I know that that would cause a lot of binge eating in the future if I went a day without eating. I also know that I don't have to work out more the next day after a big meal because the body knows how to deal with feasts well. A few days of eating more than usual is not going to cause drastic changes in your body. As soon as you go back to just eating your regular amounts again, your body maintains homeostasis. It is very good at handling feasts well when it is healthy. So if I know that I'm having a big feast for, say, Christmas Day or a New Year's party, I will never restrict the amount of food that I eat during the day, because I know that I need to still have enough energy for everything that I'm doing during the day, and I know that I would be very hangry when I got to the party that evening, and I probably wouldn't be that pleasant to be around because I would just be like diving into the food and like eating all the food, and then I would be like overly stuffed and I would just want to go to bed. So it would basically like ruin the whole evening for me, and it would ruin the whole day for me. So it would just be so detrimental to me to not eat at all during the day and just like cram a bunch of food into me in the evening. If I eat normally during the day, I have lots of energy during the day and my mood is normal and I feel happy, so I can go to the party well nourished and feeling happy and wanting to talk to everybody, instead of my brain just thinking, where's the food? I need to eat a ton of food right now because I haven't eaten all day and I'm starving. I don't want to talk to anybody until I have eaten tons of food. And then I would just be eating a ton of food at the party and then would be so full that I would just want to go to bed and go home and not enjoy the party. So like, I just know that that would not work for me, not eating at all during the day. So that's just, even if I hear somebody else doing that, I just know in my mind like, oh, that would be like terrible if I did that. The human brain is literally wired to seek food when there is a lack of it. But if you're someone who is suffering from an eating disorder or disordered eating or chronic dieting or is in recovery from an eating disorder, then your brain has been trained over the years to be hyper aware of food. So even just the thought of restricting food that day and eating less, your brain just automatically thinks, we are about to face a famine. We have to eat as much food as possible right now. So your brain especially is hyper aware of any sign of inadequate food intake. So resolve that you're going to eat normally that day, even if you know there's going to be a great feast in the evening and there's going to be lots of food available in the evening. Resolve to eat normally during the day no matter what, and be well nourished. It doesn't matter if you're going to eat lots of food in the evening on top of what you already had that day, because especially if you are someone in recovery, your body needs those extra calories and will probably gladly take those extra calories that you give it. If you're someone who is further along in your recovery, once you're at a place where your body is healthy and it maintains homeostasis very well. You're at your set point. Your body can handle the extra calories during the holiday season. There's this big misconception in our society that unless we control every ounce of food that we eat, we're just going to be chaotic, out of control, and impure. And that is completely false. Our bodies are amazingly forgiving and our bodies can manage feasts quite well. So after a few feast days, just by, eating normally and listening to our bodies maintain homeostasis quite well. You do not have to punish yourself or restrict after the holiday season. I know that it's a big thing for New Year's is to set weight loss goals and go on new diets and start restricting again after the holiday season, but just by going back to eating normally, like for example, I just go back to eating whole plant foods and eating an abundance of whole plant foods, and if I happened to gain a little bit of weight or a bit of water weight during the holidays, just by going back and eating an abundance of whole plant foods, my body just naturally goes back to where it previously was. With 0 calorie restriction, 0 excess exercise, the body is very good at maintaining your set point. And that's when your metabolism is not lowered due to past restriction, and that's when your hormones are healthy and balanced. If you've been restricting for a long time, then it's gonna take time before your body is good at maintaining your set point. If you engage in disordered eating or any eating disorder behaviors over the holiday season, just remember to be gentle and forgiving to yourself. You don't have any undoing to do. You should not be punishing yourself, and don't feel guilty for the behaviors that you engaged in. It's so important to just move on and talk to yourself as if you were a child or if you were talking to a close friend. For the people who are making comments about how much you're eating or your body or how much they're eating and how they're gonna have to work this off the next day, I think it's actually really helpful to just have some compassion for those people, because obviously the reason why they're making these comments is because they have been immersed in an environment that has taught them these toxic beliefs. So just because they are making these comments or saying these things does not mean that you have to adopt them as your own beliefs or your own values. You can actually be a really great example to people during the holiday season by not talking about weight or how much you're eating, not talking about how you're gonna work it off the next day. You can actually be a really great example to people. Like maybe your younger cousins are there and you can be a great role model for them by showing that you're not restricting, that you're allowing yourself to eat as much as you want. So just keep that in mind as well. A lot of you guys were also talking about exercise and how you were anxious about not exercising over the holidays. This is something that I always used to be really anxious about. I was really worried about not being able to stick to my routine of exercising, but the honest truth is that when your body is healthy and you're in a happy place, literally nothing happens to your body when you stop exercising for a few weeks. You'll even see many videos here on YouTube, people saying, I stopped exercising for 6 months, or I stopped exercising for a year, or I stopped exercising for 2 weeks, and what happened? And then you click on the video and it's nothing. Nothing happens when you stop exercising. It's really great to allow yourself to rest and enjoy the holidays and not being concerned about over-exercising or training during the holidays. You can go on nice family walks during the holidays. It used to be a tradition for me and my family to go on a walk on Christmas Eve around the block to admire everyone's Christmas lights, or you could do enjoyable activities with your family such as sledding or skating or skiing, moving your body in a way that's enjoyable. If you really genuinely enjoy moving your body and you feel restless when you don't exercise, you should do things that you enjoy and are things that you do with your family. Because most importantly, the holidays are to spend time with our friends and the people that we love. So we should really be making that a priority during the holidays. But of course, at the same time, taking time to yourself and practicing self-care as well. So I think that's everything that I wanted to say regarding the holiday season. I'm so sorry if I was out of focus for this whole video. But I hope you guys have an amazing holiday season. I want you guys to enjoy the delicious food that is offered during the holiday season. Be well armed if you are going into social situations that may potentially be difficult. So that means getting enough rest, being well nourished, and practicing self-care. Remember what is most important to you during the holiday season. So if the most important thing to you is connecting with family and friends and spending time with loved ones, or if it's spending time by yourself and relaxing and practicing a lot of self-care, then make sure you remember what is most important to you during the holiday season and to make that a priority. I love you guys all so much. I hope you have an amazing holiday season. If you guys would like more one-on-one support with me, I do have a private support group offered through my Patreon. Some of you actually don't have social media, so what I've actually done for a lot of you guys is doing one-on-one email support instead of the support group, so that is an option as well. I just want to give a shout out to two people. I want to give a shout out to Olivia. I will leave her username right here, and I also want to give a big shout out to Margaret as well. I will leave her username right here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you guys all so much. I hope you guys have an amazing holiday season. Don't forget to be kind to yourselves, and until next time, peace out guys. Bye.
Everywhere I go, I'm plant-based dripping. Got 'em woke the new Bruce Lee. Roy, I got the glow. Kicking knowledge to your chick. I let her swim until she soaked. Boy, she trying to